I'm back. Okay, so Anya is up first. The joys of being an A. What does Anya need to know right now? And I'm feeling it kind of as like a need to know right now to move forward kind of vibe, you know. Remind you of anybody? So Anya, you are the Queen of Fire. And also actually I feel like this card is saying that right now you need to see this in yourself, but I feel like it's also like a call for you to identify mentors in your life who bring out this aspect of you, you know. You have an awful lot of gifts to share and things that you want to kind of teach and bring into the world, and it's almost difficult to kind of figure out where to start and what form they're going to take. And I feel like this card is saying share what is lighting up your heart, share what you love, rather than kind of looking at what people want, if you see what I mean. Share your joy. I think we were talking about this anyway over on Instagram the other day, where you were saying about, you know, how you figure out which things to share. I really feel like this is calling you to be this Queen of Fire, and not so much to be concerned about, you're going to lead, so you don't need to worry about you don't need to worry about kind of what your audience wants and then making things for them. The best way to lead is to lead with what's in your heart and share what is kind of true and authentic to you and what means a lot to you and what is special about you as well, because that will really then come through everything that you create and everything that you make, and you then will inspire other people and they will start their journeys like that as well. And I see you are this inspiring person, someone who people can look to, but you feel a little bit lost at the moment, and having some mentors of other people who you can look up to, you know, is none of us are like on our own in this world, so it's everybody who you think is a really super inspiring person will look to somebody else and see them as a really super inspiring person, you know. So I feel like this is kind of got two meanings for you at the moment. It's calling you to share as the Queen from your heart center, from your place of joy, the things that you love, things that are unique to you, even if you think people might not be interested in them. Because you love them, you'll be able to share about them in a way that you love. And the other side of it is also for you to seek out mentors and people who inspire you because they are doing that, because they are sharing the things they love and not necessarily things they feel like people want to know about. So yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous card. And that candle just like kind of lighting up her heart chakra. A blonde goddess just like you. So there you go, Anya. I hope that is helpful. Ashley. Ooh, not jumpers, just clumsy shuffling. So what does Ashley, what message do the cards have, does the universe have for Ashley right now? What do you need to know? So we have the Four of Water, and it is a beautiful, beautiful mermaid, and she's holding these pearls of water, but she doesn't look too happy. And as you know, Four of Water corresponds in Rider-Waite-Smith terminology to the Four of Cups, and it's usually a card about focusing on, the message with this card is about kind of focusing on the things that you don't have, rather than being grateful and realizing all the things that you do have. And I feel like it's indicating for you that what you need is actually like a shift in priorities. You think you need more. That four energy is always a kind of stuck kind of energy. You think of like a square, it's got four walls and it's a box, and you're in that box at the moment and you can't think or see outside of that box. But what you actually need is to look at what's already in the box. Look at what you already have. I feel like it'd be really, really useful for you to make a list that you can just add to as often as possible of every single thing that you're grateful for, and things that you maybe don't even appreciate about yourself. Ask other people what it is about you which is so wonderful and what you are blessed with. What are your blessings? What are the things you're blessed with? And in a roundabout way, doing that kind of opens space, heart space for that expansion, for the walls of the box to then come down, and for other kinds of abundance and things to come in, like those other pearls, which she's not, she's sort of like, yeah. So it can feel a little bit stuck, like I said, but that's why we read, because sometimes we need a little kick in the right direction. And I feel like that's what this is saying to you. And also with priorities, it's like what things you're doing that you don't actually need to be doing. Where are you spending your energy? Where are you putting your efforts into? Is it something that is really kind of aligned with you and what you want to be doing? And you might find that some things are, some things aren't. And like some things, I know, like we've talked about this, some things are necessary from like a you need to pay your bills kind of point of view, but it's when you feel like you have no choices, things close down and it's hard to see the options which are always there and always available to you. So by focusing on those things that you have already, all your blessings that you already have, it will open the way. I hope that's useful for you. Beautiful girl. Okay, Belle. So, Belle. Nope, pile of cards again, not jumpers. These cards, I love this deck, but they're so big and I'm so rubbish at shuffling massive cards. They're quite big and they're also quite stiff. So I have to kind of shuffle them, and I do end up slinging them around the place, non-intentionally. Okay. So, what does Belle need to know now? The moon. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous moon card. The woman is there up in front with the moon almost like sleeping behind her. And she's kind of like gesturing her blessings down onto the earth. And I feel like for you, the moon card is always about our intuition. It's about the things that are sometimes hidden. And I feel like it's saying that, this moon is very much full, it's illuminated. And I feel like it's saying that you are reaching a phase now where you understand yourself much more deeply than many other people do, but also than you have up until this point. And you're reaching a place now where that kind of understanding is enabling you to be able to offer things to other people as well, and offer gifts of intuition for other people as well. I'm not sure if you do readings, but I feel like that is what, not necessarily readings, but mediumship perhaps as well, or any kind of like more esoteric help for others. I feel like that is what this message is saying. It's like you have reached a place now where you are so kind of tuned in with your own intuition that you are going to be finding a way of offering that to other people. I'm not sure if you do that already, but it's definitely something to think about. And perhaps not necessarily, like at the moment from this, it looks almost like it's a one-way thing at the moment, that you are giving it out. But obviously when we give things out, things come back to us in return, or we create space for other things that we want to come back as well. Yeah. Interesting. Are you starting to do that? To perhaps read for others, or like I said, I don't know if you do that already, perhaps you already do, but yeah. It feels like a greater understanding, a greater intuitive understanding is being reached. And a greater sense of peace with that slumbering moon in the background as well, you know. That kind of, that marriage of two halves of the sun and the moon, you know, of our kind of spectrum of different kinds of energies they're much more balanced. Okay, so I hope that's useful, Belle. You'll have to let me know if you do readings, and then I can book in for one. So who's next? We've got Burgess. So Burgess is next. So what does Burgess need to know right now? Eight of Air. And it's a beautiful Eight of Air, because sometimes the Eight of Swords, which is the card that this kind of corresponds to in a more traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, can be seen as a card of kind of sadness and of feeling trapped and not seeing what we need to do. But this card turns that around, and that's one of the things I love about this deck. This is a card of messages. It's a card of divine messages, messages from spirit, messages from those who have passed, messages from the universe. And it's calling you to, you know, do not be blindfolded, be open to it. See the feathers, and you will, I find often when I pull this card, I will be gifted physical feathers, you know, so just keep your eyes open for that. Keep your eyes open for birds, but most definitely keep your eyes open for messages, because the spirit is communicating with you right now, and all you need to do is notice, and you will receive those messages that are coming to you. So I hope that makes sense. That's a beautiful card. I hope that's helpful. So who will we have next? Dani. So let's do a card for Dani. What does Dani need to know now? Okay. Okay. The Three of Air. And if you look at this card, you can see these little birds here, and this angel who's kind of turned away. And I find this card often this card comes out when a relationship has ended and when we are feeling heartbroken, when we are feeling like no one loves us, you know, everyone's kind of off in their little pairs and we're not included, we aren't loved, we aren't, perhaps sometimes even we feel we aren't lovable. And the message of this card is that, you know, look, there is a message, you know, for all of us, and that little bird is just there waiting for her to turn around and kind of see that, how beautiful she is and how loved she is and how nurtured she is. But at the moment she's not in that space, you know, she can't feel that way yet. And I feel like the message for you is that the time will come when you are going to feel okay again, when you are going to feel that heart area expand again, and you will feel healed. And it might not be for a little while, but you are taking the steps to do it. Definitely pay attention to any messages or journal entries, you know, like if you do a dream journal or just like kind of free writing and journaling, to however you find you kind of connect to the divine within you, because there is divine within you as there is within all of us. Sometimes things just take a little bit of time. And it doesn't mean you're broken. It just means that you need a little bit more time. I hope that's helpful. And if you'd like to chat to me about kind of ways to move forward, then, you know, then just give me a message. Sometimes you can feel stuck, you know. Okay. So, Donna. A message for Donna. What does Donna need to know now? Okay. 5 of air. So in traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, this would be the 5 of swords, which you may remember is often a card of competition, should we say. I mean, 5 of wands probably sums up competition a little bit more than that, but 5 of swords, it's, you know, the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, all of the swords are a bit more problematic. But in this deck, no, it's the 5 of air, and you can see that she is dancing there with those birds around her, and there is not an element of competition or of backstabbing or of kind of hurtful things being said. It is, she's rising above it all, and I feel like that's what this message is for you. It is saying that how you perceive what is going on and how you react to the people around you, to the things they say and the things they do. You perhaps can't change the things they say and the things they do, but what you can change is how you react to them. You can kind of be hurt by it. You can try and kind of hurt them back sometimes when you're having kind of a difficult time. Or you can choose to rise above it, to rise above it all, and just do your own sweet thing and not worry the hell what anybody else is saying you should do or telling you that you're wrong. You don't need to listen to any of that. Just do your own thing. And that can be hard. I know it can be hard. But it is also like the ultimate freedom, because unless we we need to feel whole within ourselves. We need to tap into that divine which is within ourselves. And when we do that, we realize that the words that other people speak to us say a lot more about those other people than they do about us. So if you can, just let it wash over you. You focus on what it is that you love, what you want to learn, what you want to do. And, taking care of your family, most certainly as well, but not by compromising yourself. There's not a time and place for compromising yourself anymore now, okay? Don't be dragged into fights, or certainly like spiteful words, it feels like has been a problem. But don't be sort of dragged into any word battles or slangy matches or anything like that. Just do your own sweet dance. I hope that is useful for you, Donna. And next I'm going to do Andrea, who is being sponsored by Donna in the circle, which is really lovely. Andrea was the person who was picked out. Ooh, slinging cards again. They are too big, these cards, for my little hands. So, what does Andrea... What message do we have for Andrea right now? There's been a lot of air cards coming out. Well, that's a pretty gorgeous non-air card. So we have the 10 of Earth, which in the Rider-Waite-Smith would be the 10 of Pentacles, and it is a angel slash, she's got kind of almost like devil horns but angel wings or fairy wings, and there's a wolf also lying at her feet, and there's also a chest full of coins, and there's these gorgeous coins all up around her. And this card is very much one of abundance. When this comes out, it is usually showing that you've kind of reached a state of you have everything that you need. You are abundant, you have what you need. Sometimes, like, I've already said it. But it also, and I feel like this is the message for you now, is that you have a 10, it is the end of the cycle and it's time to begin a new cycle as well. So I feel like perhaps, I think also job related, it's like you've come as far as you can in your current role. Perhaps you're on the top of the pay scale where you are working now, or I don't know what the pay scale is there, but you are at the top of it and you've kind of reached the end of the possibility for you, abundance wise, kind of material abundance wise, money wise, you can't go any further if you stay where you currently are. So I feel like this is also saying, not super quickly or anything, but it's time to start kind of thinking about looking around at other possibilities for you, and where can you go to make a new start to like be able to reap even bigger abundance in the future. And also I think a little bit your relationship with, I hate it when people say actually relationship with money, because like you don't really have a relationship with money, do you? Like it's a thing that you have. it's a possession, you don't have a relationship with it, but it's sometimes people feel guilty for wanting more, and that's not healthy sometimes, so have a look at your feelings around that as well. Like, do you feel perhaps you recognize that you've reached a place where other people would be like, wow, she's done really well and she's reached this place, and other people are looking up to you and thinking, wow, she's reached it, and yet you don't feel satisfied with that, but you feel bad about not feeling satisfied with that. But you shouldn't. You are meant for your natural manifester of abundance. So it's time to look for new opportunities and to kind of quiet those thoughts of like, well, no, I'm fine. I don't need any more than this. You are accruing abundance, and you will be looking, you know, for new opportunities to accrue even more abundance in the near future. I feel like into next year. So I hope that is useful. Sounds like it's going to be a very fruitful year. So who's next? Elaine. Elaine is next. So, what message do we have for Elaine? Ooh. Oh, now I have got a jumper. Oh. Okay. It's the Four of Air. I don't think you see that quite properly. And this card in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck would be Four of Swords. And it does carry echoes of that card because she does look troubled. And I feel like that is what it is saying for you now, you know, is that you have a lot on your mind. Look at the peacock feathers there as well. The feathers are kind of peacock feathers. She's holding one and the other three are like kind of bunched up by her head. And she almost looks like she doesn't know what to do for the best. She's troubled, she's worried. What are you worried about? What is troubling you? Is it... Is it... I feel like people are, or maybe they're not even doing this, but you feel like they're doing this. People are thinking that you need to be looking for a new relationship, and people are kind of telling you what you should be doing with your life, and you're almost like there's all these ideas and trying to find that place between what other people are saying you should do and what you should do. And usually I'm all for doing what you should be doing and not what other people are telling you. Like, shoulds are always annoying. But don't be cutting yourself off, you know. Don't be keeping yourself too small. What's frightening you? What's stopping you? What's holding you back? Ideas about yourself are what's holding you back. Thoughts about yourself, limiting beliefs that you've held on to for a long time. And so I feel like this card is saying that you need to confront those. And it's not going to be fun, unfortunately, but it's so necessary, and it needs to be done so that you can move forward and that you can be more open to other things happening in your life in the future. You know, there's no rush, but they're not going to go away, unfortunately. So I hope, well, you know, it's not fun, but hopefully that's helpful and is kind of an indicator. You probably know yourself, because it's the kind of thing which is good to read about. You know, read the cards about for yourself as well, which I know you do. So let's so where am I up to? So yes, Elaine, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's no fun, is it, when the hard stuff comes out? But you know, that's what we use the cards for. Stop us from getting off our own hooks. You're on the hook now, so you do need to look into it. Okay, so Elena. This is what has come out for Elena. The Queen of Air, and I love this card. It's one of my favourite cards in the whole deck. She's there with the owl, and she is almost the owl too, you know, with the feathers just everywhere, and her her throat chakra and her heart chakra are kind of aligned, and with the third eye as well. It's gorgeous. And this card is very much about being a good communicator, and not just about kind of communicating in a shallow or superficial way, but about communicating from that third eye, from that throat, from your heart, and bringing those things together so that when you speak, you are speaking your truth. You are speaking not just your truth, but like a kind of deeper, more universal truth. And I feel like it's calling you to do that on a more with more people, on a bigger scale. So that might be through social media, or maybe like having a channel or something like that, starting a YouTube channel. You've got wisdom to share, it's just perched there on your shoulder, and it's time to bring that out. And it may not even be like fully formed yet, and that's totally fine. Sharing your journey is just as important as sharing experience after it has been gained. Sometimes the sharing of the journey is more helpful to people because they can kind of see you change and grow as you share it. I really do feel like this is calling you to communicate on a grander level. So have a think about that. I don't know how you feel about that, but yeah, it's a good card. It's a powerful card. So that was for Elena. And next we have Elizabeth. So what does Elizabeth? What message is for Elizabeth now? The King of Water, and he carries definite echoes of Neptune there with the trident, and you can kind of see his fishy scales and the fish swimming into his hand. And it's a beautiful image of a kind of powerful, and yet look how he's got compassion still, and he's still, even though he is the king, he is still integrating with the smallest of the subjects in his kingdom. And I feel like this card is saying that it's about your relationships with other people. It's about seeing, I don't know whether you see yourself as the king or if you see yourself as the fish, but usually we are both. In some of our relationships we are the one who is kind of the powerful, able to support and nurture, because of the kings he is the most nurturing king. And then sometimes we see ourselves as the fish, and we are almost looking for a nurturing parent figure to hold us and to guide us. And so it's like being aware of both of those parts of yourself, like who are the people who nurture and guide you, and who are those who you nurture and guide. And just notice those relationships and see how those relationships are making you feel, because sometimes we identify more as one than the other, and usually people tend to gravitate towards identifying with the fish. But see yourself as the king too. You are the king too. You are able to nurture and support those around you. And the sort of support that we're talking about here is that kind of emotional support. It is that friendship, companionship. We're not talking about necessarily financially supporting people. There are definitely other gifts that you can give apart from that kind of emotional, apart from that like physical, financial support. Don't undervalue those free things which actually cost us time and love, and like those are things which when you give them, you get them back in so much bigger ways, and not necessarily from the people that you give them to sometimes, which can be frustrating, but it will come back. And in surprising and wonderful ways also sometimes. So yeah, interesting. I feel like there's an integration of a different part of your personality being suggested here, and so it's time to kind of look at that integration, look at like yourself as being the benign protector and emotional support, and not in a way that weakens you as well. So if you find people do come to you often for emotional support and they kind of take, you know, they're a bit like a draining of you, the king doesn't get drained by those sort of relationships. He would not. Boundaries, you know, are also important. That trident is there for a reason. So just be aware of your boundaries as well, and explore being the king. Yeah. Work, but good, you know, good, interesting work. So that was for Elizabeth. And next we have Faylyn. So, what do we have for Faylyn? What's the universe want you to know? Okay. The Seven of Water, and we've got like a, is she a mermaid or no, she's an angel, and she's like sitting on a flower that's in the water, and there's all these fish and shells swimming around her, and she's just kind of staring off into the middle distance dreamily, sort of thinking about all and weighing up her options of all the possible things that she could do, and she's not doing any of them. It's sometimes this card comes as a bit of a warning that you are kind of like, oh, shiny things, and you are kind of swimming towards or trying new things, and then, you know, losing the excitement with that, trying another new thing, losing the excitement with that, and just moving on, looking for something that actually is right there beneath you the whole time. So I feel like what it's saying to you is that you need to actually stop looking at things out of you, looking for perhaps learning opportunities, perhaps emotional opportunities, perhaps friends. Not, you know, don't not have those things, but you're expecting to get something from those things which actually can only be got from within you. And so I feel like this is going to be like an ongoing project over the next year. It's time to dig deep into you. An interesting idea I came across in one of the bullet journaling groups I'm in on Facebook. Somebody was saying about having a depth year. And I'd never heard of this idea before, but a depth year is when you don't buy anything new, like, you know, like new books or watch new movies or watch new TV shows or what else might you do like that, you know, or buy new decks if you use tarot decks or oracle decks or anything like that. You really focus on diving into the things that you've already got, and because, you know, so often we kind of look at, oh yeah, that's cool, you know, and bring it into our lives, but then don't actually do anything with it. So it might be useful to kind of explore that idea of a depth year and see what is actually the thing that you're looking for is actually already within. So it's time to kind of tap into that and stop getting distracted. Because, you know, you're not going to find what you're looking for in the place where you're looking. That's not what it is. Okay, so I hope that is useful. And next we have Jeannetta. I might have to go and put the heater back on in a minute because it's getting a little bit chilly in here now. Ooh, we've got a jumper, and it actually was a jumper for Jeannetta. The Six of Earth. Gorgeous, gorgeous card. Look, well, they're all gorgeous in this deck, but, you know, nice and gorgeous. and we've got like a deer, huge antlers, and there's the coins hang on the antlers, and the deer's kind of just looking off into the distance, not afraid, ready, rooted and grounded. And funny, because I know that you've already told me that this year is, well, 2019 is going to be your year of the horned one. And we have a horned animal here. It's Six of Earth is often about how we care for others and how others care for us in a kind of material and financial way. And so often it can be about if we are being dependent on somebody else, or if somebody else is dependent on us. And I feel like this card is asking you to kind of look at those, that the interplay of that. Look at how you are dependent, and look at how you are other people are dependent on you, and to explore that concept of independence, which means, you know, like not being a dependent on somebody. You know, people have put a lot of value on independence because they put a lot of value on individuality, more value than they do on community, which I feel is a part of our kind of patriarchal structure and something that is not necessarily helpful. So when we are dependent, we're seen as less than. So children are seen as less than because they are dependent upon their parents, and women are often seen as less than because sometimes, especially if there are children and the woman has taken time off work to look after the children, they are dependent on somebody. And I feel like this is not just like in your current life. This is a kind of pattern of thing for you to look at through your life. When have you been dependent? When have you been the one who is other people are depending on? And when have you been independent? Which feels best to you? What feels good to you? Explore that, because that kind of interdependence, what is that? Codependency as well, you know, playing again into that horned one, into that devil card. That idea of like codependency is perhaps something to look into as well. I feel like this is a more far-reaching message. You know, it's not necessarily like a right now message. It's going to be like something to explore over the coming months. So I hope that is useful and helpful. Okay, so who is next? Jennifer Ball. So, because we've got two Jennifers, we have Jennifer Ball and Jennifer Miller. So this one is for Jennifer Ball, and Jennifer Miller will be after that. So, Jennifer Ball. I might take a little break for this video then, I think, perhaps, and do it in two parts, because otherwise it's going to never upload, because it'll take forever to get uploaded if it's over an hour. My Wi-Fi will not play nice with that. Okay, so we have a jumper for you, Jennifer, and we have the Emperor. And it is a lion, but kind of a morphed between a lion and human emperor. And I know you were a Leo, and so this card I feel is very much like showing you as the emperor and you shining. And he is not particularly warlike at the moment, but you get the feeling that he could very easily fight if he needs to. And also lead if he needs to, and do the hard things when other people don't really want to do them. And I feel like that is what this card is saying, that you are being, this is a role that you kind of have to step into, and you need to be able to be that kind of firm but fair person, which is, I think, can be hard for you sometimes, because you naturally you're naturally a very personable person, you know, you're naturally very amiable and people like you and feel on a level with you, you know, they don't feel like you are the boss of them because you don't make them feel that way, you know, you embrace people, you know, of all different walks of life and types, you know. But sometimes you have to lead because leaders are needed, and that might feel a little bit uncomfortable. Not so much the like being in the spotlight aspect of it, which is fine, but the needing to tell people what to do. And like it could be perhaps in a work context as well, like you might have to do this within a job role, but I feel like more like it's an aspect of your personality which you don't embrace because you feel like it's not becoming, it's something that was not encouraged in you as a child, you know, you were not encouraged to be dominant or kind of a tyrant in any way. In fact, you might have even been called those things. I feel like it's like people said you were like that. They said that you were like, you wanted the spotlight and you wanted everyone to do as you did, and you know, you wrap people around your little finger. But those actually weren't true. Those were myths that were kind of imprinted on you as a child, and you're not like that. And the bits of you that would be more like that have been suppressed even more because of the way you were treated then. So I feel like it's, you know, with the majors, it's always a more kind of deeper, ongoing thing we're referring to here. So I feel like it's asking you to kind of look at that in your life and see how that is kind of playing out, and where you can kind of look at the patterns that people have imprinted on you at a young age, and kind of own parts of you that I suppose are in shadow. So it is an aspect of kind of shadow work, those kind of leadership abilities, and a natural, you know, like the lion is a natural leader, a natural king, and I feel like so are you, but you don't see yourself that way because you've associated kind of being powerful as being bad, because people talk about power as being misused a lot of the time. But if you are powerful and you are good, then that is actually helpful for people. You don't have to be a tyrant, you know, you can be a just and fair ruler. So yeah, something to think about. A strange one perhaps. So, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'll do Jennifer Miller. I think I'll do all the Ks, and then I think I'll break the video because otherwise we'll be really, really long. So this card is for Jennifer Miller. What does Jennifer need to know? Queen of Air. So this card came out earlier for Elena as well, and it is a gorgeous, gorgeous card, and it shows a woman who is in her crone years, even though, you know, her skin still looks pretty perfect on here, but her hair is grey, and she is standing kind of fully in her wisdom, and she is not afraid to be seen. She also has the owl on her shoulder there, which for you, I'm seeing that as being like a connection with goddess, a connection with deity. And obviously the owl is very much linked with Athena and Minerva. So perhaps, you know, I don't know whether you have a particular deity that you are associated with, but I feel like you are receiving wisdom from deity now, and also from ancestors. And you are being called to kind of be seen and be visible, and for people to be able to come to you for advice and for wisdom because you have it. you know. And sometimes you see things, well, no, not sometimes, always you see things that other people don't see. And perhaps you don't communicate this because, you know, sometimes it feels a bit awkward to communicate those things, you know. When you know things, people don't know how you know them, it can get awkward. But you can't let that hold you back from communicating, because it is, you are doing it to build people up, not to tear people down. And so yeah, and you must do that. You must use your powers for good and not to kind of tear people down, because you are also very skillful at using words to cut people and to hurt people. But you can choose not to do that, and you can choose to heal and help people to kind of understand themselves better. So yeah, that is what that card, I feel like, is calling you to do at the moment. So I think I'm going to pause it there and start a new video so that I can not make this too long.